Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer and I'm here to talk about the new moon in Pisces that's happening on February 27th, 2025 at 4:44 p.m. And that time, that specific time, by the way, that 4:44 really strikes me because Spirit knows that I'm a numbers gal, and 444 is a message from Spirit. And we're creating something. We're creating a foundation. We're building something when we're seeing that 444. A new moon is where the sun and the moon come together in the darkest phase of the moon to create something new, planted in faith. You know, we can't see the results. There is a nurturing and a gestation process when it comes to a new moon. The new moon in Pisces is at 9 degrees, which is the Sagittarian degree. And then when I think about the Sagittarian degree and the Pisces degree, both echoing this connection to my belief system, to my spirituality, to my connection to all that is. Jupiter is the natural ruler of, or I should say the ancient ruler of Pisces. And so there's a connection here that goes beyond what you can see with your eyes. That's one of the things about the Pisces energy is it's very blurry. You can't swim in the ocean and see with your human eyes. You have to trust your instincts more. You have to trust the rhythm of nature, the rhythm of the ocean. So this is a very, very powerful and influential new moon because as we plant the seeds for our creativity, for the things that we want to experience from a soul's perspective, there's a lot of power packed behind it because of the cluster of planets that are in Pisces. We have Saturn in Pisces right now. We have Mercury in Pisces. The North Node is in Pisces, and Neptune is in Pisces. So while these planets are not conjunct the new moon, they are in the house. So there's conversation going on and you can hear it. You know, it's very loud. And the conversation between Saturn and Mercury is sort of looking at where we've been. How have our everyday lives been affected by restriction, by limitation, by obligation, by authority? That would be Saturn. Mercury representing our thoughts and our everyday activities. I'm going to pull the chart up right now so we can look at some of the, I'll pull up the chart. I tend to notice some very subtle nuances. Let me click off of the moon real quick. Oops. God bless me. I am so fabulously flawed. Thank you for putting up with me right now. Okay. Here we see the new moon in the 7th house of Pisces at the time of the new moon, the specific time. I think this is significant, and I wanted to leave this chart up in Placidus house system because we can see that at the time of the new moon, there's a very late degree Leo rising, which makes the first house primarily Virgonian, and therefore the 7th house Piscean. If I would have moved this to whole sign, it would have put this energy of Pisces in the 8th house. Here, I really believe that I'm being called to plant the seeds for a new sense of harmony, a new sense of cooperation, even surrender with my soul's bigger version of who I am than what I know from my earthly perspective. And that's why I believe that these thoughts that Saturn and Mercury are having are very powerful because Saturn is been in Pisces pretty much demanding that we build a strong sense of connection with our soul, with walking away from the deceptions and the lies and the limitations of the human experience and stepping into a more divine and, for lack of a better term, godlike energy of what Saturn represents. He was a god, a Greek god, a Roman god, depending on what you want to call him. And now he is saying, as he's been going through Pisces, that we are that spark of God within. And as we align our thoughts, while it is not easy to do that because of the limitations of the earthly plane, there are possibilities here. And that's the anchoring of our thoughts. And I think that's evidenced by Neptune here at the 28th degree. That's the 10 degree. Whenever I see ones, they always take me to ones represent thought. When you see a series of ones, your thoughts are manifesting very quickly. So I think that these planets that are having this very tight conversation right now are supporting the planting of these seeds. And I also want to comment that when I looked at the chart, if I had put this in whole sign, it would have very much changed Uranus. We would not have seen Uranus on the midheaven at the time of the new moon. I think this is supporting. We see Uranus making a supporting aspect to Saturn and to Mercury and to the North Node. So this is giving us an opportunity to liberate ourselves, to move into a new sense of genius, to use our history, which is represented by the Taurus energy here, and the Saturn energy, and use that as a launching pad, as a tool. When I started to recognize that Spirit would use my memories as a way of connecting with me, it wasn't a burning bush like Moses, and it didn't look like the people I saw on TV, but it very, very effective. This is part of where the transformation can come in, because this is where you can reconcile your history and use it as a divine tool to move you into your North Node energy, which is what you're stretching for in this lifetime. And at the time of this new moon, it's for communication, the Gemini degree, in reaching and speaking to the truth of who I am, the bigger part of who I am. And I think this is further supported by the South Node, the trine to the South Node. Now, Venus is over here in Aries, and she's in right now. She's stationed because she's going to retrograde, I believe, on March 2nd. I'd have to check my dates, and moving back into her exaltation and in conversation with both Neptune and Saturn and the North Node. This new moon is a perfect opportunity to be brave in your Venusian energy about what you want to create, whether it be literally a piece of art, whether you want to create more money, whether you want to create, a beautiful home, you want to be a chef, you want to be, sustainable goods, whatever the case may be. Venus rules a lot of things, but this is about being brave. And the retrograde is going to take you back into this, how do I create peace and harmony through my connection to Spirit by using my talents and my skills, not from my human brain that is full of limitation and restriction, but rather from my divinity that knows only expansion. Now, the challenge during this new moon is the square to Jupiter, because Jupiter is in detriment. Jupiter wants to just implement the big ideas. Let's go, let's go. And Jupiter is just getting out of shadow. Okay, Jupiter was retrograde, and now we see Jupiter's at the Piscean degree, making a square to its co-rulership, Pisces, and the new moon. So this, I think, is Jupiter frustrated, wanting to expand quickly, wanting to move quickly. But the new moon is going to encourage us to allow this to be cultivated, to spend time nurturing not just the creativity that's being offered through the Piscean energy, but the connection that inspires the creativity, the connection that is your ultimate truth of who you are. You are not a physical being. You are an energetic light being. And as such, this is giving you an opportunity to plant the seeds for this experience here in the physical, which is what I think is happening as the outer planets all move from earth and water into air and fire. First, we had Pluto do that, we will see Uranus tip its toe in Gemini, which is going to speed things up incredibly before it retrogrades and then ultimately moves back into Gemini for the next 8 years or so. And Neptune is going to move into Aries before it retrogrades back into its domicile for a moment. And while it's doing that, it's going to be in a conjunction with Saturn. So having the awareness of these planetary aspects coming up over this spring will help you plant the seeds to extract the wisdom, the higher vibrations of some of these planets that can feel very challenging. And I think this is supported by Pluto in the background, making a sextile to Neptune, which is going to continue on for quite some time, decades. I mean, a decade at least. And then the supporting yet loose trine to the south node. So there's a lot going on during this new moon. And this new moon is very much, I think, best served through some kind of honoring of, the inner child, the dreamer, the one that sees no boundaries at all. Now, there's one thing that struck me, or I shouldn't say one thing, many things strike me, but I was inspired to go look at Susan Miller's astrology calendar to see what the Piscean, was there going to be solar eclipses in Pisces over the next year and a half while we're on this karmic axis. And it was interesting because what I found was all lunar eclipses for the Pisces energy. So essentially, all of the eclipses that are ushering in fated events are going to bring illuminations in that full moon cycle. And I think that's important because what I think it's going to illuminate is that we are souls inhabiting a physical experience and that our thoughts are things. And as we focus on certain thoughts, the South Node in Virgo, we start to manifest those thoughts. So people who think happy thoughts manifest happy lives. And people who focus on troubles, problems, challenges tend to magnify that experience only to create the contrast and to create the inspiration and maybe even the epiphany to move the other direction. Well, this hasn't worked for me. So how about if I just try this? So everything that's going to happen that's Piscean and eclipse wise over the next year about a year. Well, a year and a half now, because I'm recording this in February 2025, and the last Piscean lunar eclipse will be in late August 2026. So there's going to be illuminations of the truth of your soul and how powerful it is and what a co-creator it is. And you get the opportunity to use it as a tool with an awareness and with an intention. So I hope this helped. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Please comment. And I hope you have a lovely Pisces new moon. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.